You have such a nice little bit of colors with the first 3 books I read in the month, and then it gets dark and depressing. Okay, let's talk about the first book I read in the month of June. I'm filming this on like the 25th because I have no confidence that I'm going to finish V.E. Schwab's new book because that thing is massive. So I'm just going to film it now and assume I'm not going to finish it. If there's a jump cut at the end of this video and I surprisingly do finish it, then we have that an extra book. But I read 5 so far. I know that's not a lot. I know a lot of people, when they do these videos, end up reading like 12 books in a month, but it's just not for me. I can't do it. First book that I read was We Could Be Rats by Emily Austen. This book is about a girl who is practicing her suicide note. I don't know if you can say that on YouTube, not that, or I'm going to get in trouble for it, but that's what she's doing. She's writing her notes because she's planning on killing herself, and she keeps going through these drafts. And it even gives a nice trigger warning in the beginning that's like, there is a negative response to someone who attempted to take their life, which I thought was interesting to have a trigger warning like that in the beginning of the book, because I don't see trigger warnings too often in books. But this book had a lot to say about depression, which I was in the deep thralls of depression when I was in high school. So if you look at like all of my favorite books from when I was in high school, it's all books about depression. I mean, it was 13 Reasons Why. It's kind of a funny story. Those were kind of the big 2. Also, it has more to say about that than just the depression and the reason why someone would want to take their life. It also talks about, being, is that a spider? I think there's a spider on my blinds. Okay, my microphone died in the middle of what I was filming, so I have to refilm some stuff. And yeah, let's talk about some more things. I was in the middle of talking about We Could Be Rats. I don't actually know what I was talking about or what I was saying and when it cut out, so it kind of doesn't really tell you the reason why. She kind of lies about it, and you find out further and further on why she decided to do that. And she is really unreliable too because she lies a lot. But I ended up giving this book 5 stars. I really liked it. It really tells a lot about the weight of the world, and when your political views and the views on the world don't match the people around you, and kind of what your expectations are in order to change their mind or educate them, or if it's better to just get them out of your life because it's better for your mental health. So I thought that was really interesting. I didn't expect the book to go in that direction. It really doesn't until later in the book. But yeah, it really packed a punch. It was really interesting. I liked what it had to say about depression and how difficult it can be to just live in today's climate, today's world, and what the solutions are. Like, that's kind of all I got for this one. Okay, the next book I read was for a vlog in and of itself. It was a outside of my comfort zone book video where I read 2 romances and 1 horror. First one I read was Rules for Ruin. This I got in a book box, and so it was kind of necessary that I read it. It is a historical romance about an academy where their entire goal is to take down the patriarchy, and this takes place in Regency era, so I thought it was a really interesting concept. But the book ended up becoming more about the guy that the girl meets rather than her trying to take down the patriarchy. Like, it would be about her like trying to snoop around, and then it would end up her meeting up with him, flirting basically, and banter. The banter was pretty good. I liked that part of the book. I thought they had a lot of really quick wit, and it was really, really fun to read about that. I did not like how they talked about each other in their inner monologues, because you do get both point of view from Effie and Gabriel. And he is always talking about her body. She is always talking about his stone cold eyes and how dangerous he seems, even though he doesn't really seem that dangerous. He just owns a gambling den, which I guess is dangerous for Regency era, but he doesn't really do anything to show that. So I ended up giving this 2 stars, which I know is a really unpopular opinion because the Goodreads reviews for this, like 5 stars after 5 stars. It is crazy how much people love this book, and it just wasn't for me. I was really interested in the idea of the academy, but you barely see it. And I was more interested in that than I was in the romance. So, yep. Okay, the last book I have to interject with before I can go back to my previous recording is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is a book everybody has read. I don't really need to tell you what it's about, but I will just in case. This is a story about a romance between Poppy and Alex. They are best friends and they go on vacation every summer. Must be nice to I forget where they've gone, but it's all like tropical, wonderful places that I can never even imagine myself going on. Um, I I knew this book wasn't going to be for me just because I'm not much of a romance reader, and so I had low expectations for it. Um, I liked the vacations that they went on. I liked that it was kind of a simplistic idea of them just going on vacation and falling in love. That's very cute. It's a nice concept. I liked the vacations they went on, but I thought the conflicts were a little shallow and they were resolved really easily. And the one conflict that I saw them having that wouldn't have been easily resolved, like she doesn't want kids, he wants to live in Ohio, he does want kids, she wants to live in New York, like that seemed to be resolved way too easily. This book wasn't really for me. I don't know if I'd ever read an Emily Henry book again, maybe from the library. I've heard Beach Read and Book Lovers are better, but I don't know. I didn't like Poppy very much either as a character. I don't know, she just rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe it's just me. It is just me. I've seen the reviews on this. I know it's just me. But if you like contemporary romance, I'd pick this up. It's kind of like a rom-com. It's very cute. And I do like rom-com movies, which is the weird thing, but there's something about romance books that I just don't understand. But like one of my favorite movies is Sleeping with Other People, and it's a rom-com and it's adorable and I love it. But I don't know, romance books just aren't for me. So anyway, let's get back to the video where I was talking about the Watchers. Oh, I hope that was going this entire time. I never know how much to share about this plotline because it's called The Watchers, so you know that there's somebody out there watching people. But, oh, die. I hope that works better. Okay. So you know that something's going on. You can kind of see them standing in a room facing glass on the cover, but I don't want to go into too much detail about it. I go into a little more detail on my vlog that I did about the books outside of my comfort zone. And yeah, I gave this 3 stars. I thought it was pretty slow for a horror novel, but I haven't read a lot of horror novels, so I don't know if this is considered like a slow burn or if this is accurate to how most horror novels are. But I thought the concept was really interesting. I liked the characters. I liked Madeline, I believe is her name, is just a straight up bitch. She's just here to be a bitch. She's got no other personality. Oh, that's not true. She has other personality characteristics, but she's been in this place for a certain amount of time and has changed her personality. And it's interesting to see how these characters change with the amount of time that they're stuck in this place. And I would die for the bird. It's just the way it is. I like that the bird just sat there and was sitting in a little cage and was like chill the entire time. I'm like, that bird, what did that bird eat? No explanation. They didn't say that the bird was given food. There was no food talked about. There was nothing about like letting it fly around the room. Like that bird was just happy to be there. I'm here for it. Yeah, I liked how this book had at the end, it showed kind of the aftermath and kind of how the characters acclimate to the world now that they've been through what they've been through. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. If you like horror, I would recommend it. It's not very gory or anything like that. So if you're kind of a baby like I am, it's perfect. Okay, the last book I read, which this is already 12 minutes. I don't know how people talk about 20 books and have it be under like 20 minutes. They must just rapid fire. But I don't read a lot, so this is what you get. The last book I read was One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a book that everybody and their mom has read. It is I don't know, is it technically a romantasy? I assume it is. Most fantasies are romantasies these days, right? I don't read a lot of romanticies because obviously I'm not a big fan of romance. I'd rather my fantasy just be fantasy. Um, but I really like this book. I gave it 4 stars. It was a lot of fun and I liked the concept. It was kind of simple. Basically, there is a bunch of cards that are put out into the world that give people magical powers. If you tap on the card 3 times, it gives you a certain power, but there's a certain consequence. And the royalty are trying to collect all of these cards to get rid of this menacing mist in the forest that basically kills people. And the main girl, Elsbeth, which I think is an interesting choice for a name, she got an illness when she was younger that basically gave her her own power without the cards. If you get this illness, it gives you powers, but if you're discovered to have this illness, you get killed. She was able to hide away, and she ends up getting a nightmare in her head, like this guy that speaks in her head, and it's like this entity that is described as being like wrapped around her spine. But she also can see these cards that the kingdom is searching for, and so these group of people, including this hot guy named Raven, Raven with a Y, can't. Romantasy names are so funny to me. Are trying to find the cards before the king does, and it enlists her help basically to try and find them. I thought it was really interesting. I liked it a lot. I liked the action. There was a lot of action in this book. She gets into a lot of fights, gets kind of bullied, really. And then the nightmare in her head kind of takes over, and when she asks it to, and he'll fight for her, and it really brutalizes some people. So she goes through it. And I thought her and Raven were pretty cute. It was a little insta-love for me, which is not my favorite. I don't like it when characters just fall in love immediately. And it was kind of like that, but I was okay with it in this instance. Also, the nightmare that she has in her head sometimes kind of gives her dating advice, because he's like, if you don't talk to him about it, you're gonna lose him. And I'm like, why are you so invested in this? Do you ship it? I like the nightmare in her head. I think he's entertaining. I did see one review where somebody was like, I don't understand why she's not going after the nightmare in her head. Which amuses me. Let's talk about what I'm reading next. Okay, the book I'm currently reading is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. It's quite the name. Although, apparently V.E. Schwab was going around local independent bookstores in Utah, and I missed it. She just like randomly showed up at the Legendarium and Under the Umbrella bookstore. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, this is a story. I don't know much about it. I was kind of spoiled as to what it's about, which I feel like what it's about is a spoiler, because I'm 60 pages in, and the thing that they're like, oh, this is what this is about, has not shown up yet. So I'm not going to say what it's about. All you need to know is that it follows, at the moment, it follows 2 women, but I think it follows 3, or 3 time periods. It follows in 1532, 1827, and 2019. At the moment, we've only seen 1532 and 2019, and I'm 60 pages in. But it's very interesting because it goes between 1532 to 2019, and so there's a very different dynamic of these 2 women and how their lives are, because one of them is forced into an arranged marriage and has to marry this count and is basically just given to him, while the other girl goes to a party and just has random sex with a girl whose name she doesn't know. So it's very interesting to go between the 2, because it's just such whiplash to go between the 2 different ways these women are treated. I'm very interested in this book. It's really good so far. I like how it's written. Okay, the next book I want to read is The Most Fun We Ever Had. I think Gabby Reeds gave this 5 stars, is where I heard about this. It's longer than I thought it would be. How long is this? Oh shit, it's longer than the V.E. Schwab book is. It's 600 pages. It doesn't look like it would be that big, but I'm holding it and it's very heavy. This is a story about 2 people who met and got married in the 70s, and then they had 4 children, 4 girls, and they're all wildly different, and there's a lot of drama. One of their daughters had a kid when she was a teenager, and that kid shows up randomly. So it seems like kind of a family drama type of thing, which I'm here for. I liked Gifted and Talented, which is basically just a family drama. So maybe that's a genre I just like. Give me the drama. Next book I recently bought was Under the Same Stars. This is a book by Libba Bray. I've read a lot of books by her, especially as a teenager, and I really liked them. And so I wanted to read her new book. This is her newest one. It's so pretty. Such a pretty book. I love this cover. But this is kind of like V.E. Schwab's new book, where it takes place at different time periods about different people. It starts off with a couple of friends who find a letter to one of their grandmothers who has to do, and it has to do with a murder that happened back in like 1800s or something like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Something that took place 80 years ago. So, next. So pretty. Please hold. Oh my god, look how pretty. Sorry, I got distracted. So I'm interested to read that one. I mostly bought it because of the cover, but it sounds interesting as well. So lucky me that those two intertwined. I think those are all the books I'm planning on reading right now. I still want to get to Jade Legacy sometime before the end of the year, but those are really the only books that are on my list that I need to read. So thank you so much for watching. I see you in the next one. I have a vlog where I need to put together all of my footage from Colorado, the trip that I just took. Lots of kid activities without any kids because I'm not going to put my nephews on the internet, but we went to the aquarium and stuff like that, so you're going to see a lot of kid things. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay, bye.